Yay! We're back. We're back. Oh, thank God. It was so long.
It was a very long time, but now we are back. Okay, now that we're live, I'm going to blow this out real quick, although it is a lovely spooky season moment. But I wanted to show you this because this is like the best candle I've ever smelled in my life, and I got it at Target, and it's amazing.
Vanilla pumpkin. Oh, that sounds divine.
This is like the cheap brand. It's like the, I don't know, keepsakes or whatever, but this was $6 for a candle this big, and it smells amazing, and
That
I
is
am very
awesome.
excited about it.
The shit. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, Jason bought some pumpkin spice caramel to dip apples in, and I was like, you? And he was like, well, yeah, it's mostly spices. I don't see a lot of pumpkin's not high in the ingredients list, and I'm trying to overcome my prejudices.
Nice.
All right.
Well, and most pumpkin spice stuff isn't it's like the spices you use for pumpkin. It doesn't actually contain pumpkin.
This one does,
Sure.
but in
I mean,
general,
some of them do, but like the initial idea of pumpkin spice was pumpkin pie spice.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, darn, I was gonna make
Oh
a
my
cup of
God.
tea and I forgot. Oh well.
Okay, hang on. Ride of the Rohirrim, Siege of Gondor.
Before we get started reading, what should I work on? I don't even like.
Do you still knit? Or
I
does the
mean,
cat stop you?
it depends on the day. Um,
You could doodle.
I could doodle. I mean, I have like coloring books and shit. Hang on a second. I'm gonna go find something.
All right, go for it. I'm going to find our spot. I think we already talked about Gamber again, which is a bit problematic. But bless him for trying, I guess. Amber, you read that that's the Ride of the Rohirrim. Pyre of Denethor, I think we're getting there. The right hand felt icy to the touch. There was Pippin. And the Dark Shadow. You will need trance.
Of
Leaped
course, I've
upon
set
the
this up on a
table.
box, which I do not need to do, but here we go. It's on my super not another crap kit box, which is actually a lovely height for it.
Right? I cannot wait to do this super not another craft kit. Like,
I'm so excited.
It was all I could do not to order a box for us, but hearing that you had one made me go, okay. Can't be selfish. And also, we already spent a lot of money on Abby's birthday, so it was like, yeah. But
I will happily share. And yeah, when it first came out for pre-order, it was right before I was like, I should stop spending so much money. This was like my last thing that I was like, yay! And then I was like, oh. So about budgeting.
Yes.
But I threw money at it and I have no regrets. And there's an airbrush in here. I haven't opened it, but I know it's in here and I'm still.
That was the thing. I was like, oh, I want it so much. Because I have an airbrush, but it's a cheap ass airbrush that clogs itself all the time. And I don't want that anymore. I want something good. I'm looking at my elementals now, like, who shall I do first? I can see the dragons from here. I feel like Radon would make a really good quadruped dragon.
I mean, I was going to say you can't go wrong with Radon. I think you can.
You can
go wrong with Radon very easily.
Yeah.
But, not in this particular sense.
Argon would be hilarious. Well, it would be good, and it is hilarious because Argon went through like 15 different versions before we settled on what he is now. And I, at one point, did away with his front limbs because I thought maybe the wings would work for that, and Abby pitched a fit. Like, where are his arms, Mom? I painted them out. Doesn't it look nice? No.
All right. Help me choose a coloring book page here. We have you can't see. Here we go. We have this one.
Okay.
Or this one.
Okay.
Or this one.
I like the lanterns.
Okay.
Because it's repeated, but it's not so repetitive that you would just be, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'm using my brush markers, so I'll be able to do some fun blendy stuff.
Blending. All right.
Hold it open with my phone and my vanilla pumpkin basic bitch candle.
And not that our audience exists in real time, but someday people might watch this and go, why has their hair changed so very dramatically? And I will tell them that Quinn's internet didn't work for like 4 months.
Yes. Yeah, that was a thing that happened.
It was hideous. I was bereft.
Yes, and my old computer, when I got the internet figured out again, would not connect to it. So then I had to get a new computer, which I am now on, which is also why, thank God, I don't have to use the fucking headphones anymore because this one has a microphone that works. Those are so annoying, and the cat would attack them every time.
Every time.
But also, they're just I hate being tethered to things.
Yeah,
I mean, I do have some like not
huge headphones.
I have some wireless headphones. But they're at work.
Yeah,
and also I use them a lot at work.
Yeah. So,
anyways,
don't worry about it. Yes.
Unrelatedly, except for the like why our hair has changed. What do you think of the hair color?
I love the color. I like it better at the short lengths where it goes foof. Like right.
Well, my haircut is terrible right now.
But the color is fucking fantastic.
Yes, the color, thank you. I'm very happy with the color. I need to get my hair like actually cut. It hasn't been touched since February. This is the February haircut grown out. Because I was going to get it cut before the rash of September weddings, and then I got sick. So no, I know the cut is bad. But I took the like Manic Panic turquoise and I mixed in a little bit of the lime green, and it became much more green than I expected.
Emerald. It's super emerald.
It is super emerald.
I absolutely love it. So Tiffany put streaks. Okay, which one fell out? This one fell out. So this one has turquoise streak in it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And they're extensions. They're supposed to last for weeks, but I sleep really restlessly. So the other one fell out. And I'm like, but I like it so much, I might just make a point of trying to take a wad of my own hair and bleaching it and then putting dye in and see if I can do it neatly. Because it feels so nice. I might even just take everything below this and bleach it and see what happens. And then I'll have like two-tone hair.
Yeah, that could be cool. What I recommend, as you can definitely see from how I have my hair, is I like to start the bleach a couple, like an inch or so down, but like a little up and down. Because that way it looks like it's grown out a little bit, which means you don't have to do it as often because it just looks a little bit more like it's grown out.
Right.
But also it doesn't hurt your scalp.
Yeah, no, I can't bleach up against my scalp. My hair will all fall out. It's very sensitive. We have learned this the hard way.
You could also, if you want to try and keep the extension in longer, you could also get one of the like sleeping cap things like I use.
I don't want a sleeping cap.
It's up to you.
I am sleeping capless. Tiffany also did a really nice cut with the layers built in again, so that as it grows, it still feels like a fresh haircut. So
that's what I need to get. I need to get a cut with the layers.
Tiffany's parlor, man. She's badass.
She's in the Springs, though.
Nope, she's in Denver.
Oh.
I drove up to Denver to get my hair cut. More than once at this point.
Where at?
Tiffany's parlor is in the
Oh, it's called Tiffany's
It's
Parlor.
called Tiffany's Parlor, yeah.
Oh, okay.
In
Well,
the
I can Google that.
something building, the Sunwater, that's in Manitou. The something building. There's a whole lot of salons in this one building, and hers is one of them.
Oh yeah, Sola Salons, right?
That.
Yes. Yeah, I know where that is.
Okay.
I have gone to some of the salons there before, but I did not find anybody who I liked because I have the lovely combination of the wavy and the cowlicks. And yeah, a lot of people don't handle that well.
Tiffany could handle it, I think. They did really well with Time's hair, which is very similar to yours.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Did I call Tiffany they? She did well with oh well, doesn't matter.
Anywho.
When in doubt, go they.
Go there, go home, baby.
Go there, go hey.
Go there, go hey.
Hey. The houses of healing.
Ooh, we're at the houses of healing.
We are at the house. Well, we're about to be at the houses of healing.
I'm excited. This will be romantic and dramatic.
And also very soothing.
And also
and
very
funny.
soothing.
Oh God, the ponderous humor involved in Eorith and the master of the houses, who just comes in to mansplain shit at people. A mist was in Mary's eyes of tears and weariness when they drew near the ruined gate of Minas Tirith. He gave little heed to the wreck and slaughter that lay about all. Excuse me. Shut up, you! Fire and smoke and stench was in the air, for many engines had been burned or cast into the fire pits, and many of the slain also, while here and there lay many carcasses of great Southron monsters, half burned or broken by stone cast or shot through the eyes by the valiant archers of Morthond. What?
Too much water. Too much water. This is not going to go well. I squeezed it and it went sploosh.
You know what would be a really epic flex for Minas Tirith? Would be if they preserved the skulls of the Oliphants and then mounted them on the outside of the walls.
That would be an epic flex, but all I can think of is the hero in the crown when they keep the dragon skull and then it drives Aaron crazy.
Right. Well, I'm just yeah. I don't think the Oliphants will talk to the heroes and tell them they don't deserve to live.
I mean, you say that now, but we don't know.
And you probably don't want anything on the outside of the walls that any future enemies could use as
As what?
Climbing. What the hell are you going to do with Oliphant skulls? Use them for housing? I'm picturing the Pacific Rim shit going on here.
Right? I mean, I don't think they're quite that big, but yeah, I mean, giant amounts of ivory, I suppose.
Sure. Ivory becomes cheaper than dirt because there's so many tusks, and they're like...
Everyone's like, oh, you got me an ivory thing again, Mom.
Like, great, more ivory.
Just what I wanted.
It's Middle-earth plastic. Like, you got my child an ivory toy? That's cheap.
We don't like it when little Bobby has ivory. We want to teach him to appreciate resources.
Yeah. And this is just too wasteful. Bobby. There's no Bobbies in Middle-earth.
I was wondering if you were going to pick up on that.
Trying to think. Bobrel.
Sounds like some sort of bird. Look, it's a bobrel.
A yellow-throated bobrel. Anyway, well, here and there, carcasses stone cast or shot through the eyes by the violent archers of Morthond. The flying rain had ceased for a time, and the sun gleamed up above. but all the lower city was still wrapped in a smouldering reek. Already men were laboring to clear a way through the jetsam of battle, and now out from the gate came some bearing litters. Gently they laid Éowyn upon soft pillows, but the king's body they covered with a great cloth of gold, and they bore torches about him, and their flames, pale in the sunlight, were fluttered by the wind. So Theoden and Éowyn came to the city of Gondor, and all who saw them bared their heads and bowed, and they passed through the ash and fume of the burned circle and went on and up along the streets of stone. To Merry the ascent seemed age-long, a meaningless journey in a hateful dream, going on and on to some dim ending that memory cannot seize. Slowly the lights of the torches in front of him flickered and went out, and he was walking in a darkness. And he thought, "This is a tunnel leading to a tomb. There we shall stay forever." But suddenly into his dream there fell a living voice. "Well, Merry, thank goodness I have found you." He looked up, and the mist before his eyes cleared a little. There was Pippin. They were face to face in a narrow lane, and but for themselves it was empty. He rubbed his eyes. "Where is the king?" he said. "And Éowyn?" Then he stumbled and sat down on a doorstep and began to weep again. "They have gone up to the citadel," said Pippin. "I think you must have fallen asleep on your feet and taken the wrong turning. When we found that you were not with them, Gandalf sent me to look for you. Poor old Merry! How glad I am to see you again! But you are worn out, and I won't bother you with any talk. But tell me, are you hurt or wounded?" "No," said Merry. "Well, no, I don't think so. But I can't use my right arm, Pippin. Not since I stabbed him. And my sword burned all the way away like a piece of wood." Pippin's face was anxious. "Well, you had better come with me as quick as you can," he said. "I wish I could carry you. You aren't fit to walk any further. They shouldn't have let you walk at all, but you must forgive them. So many dreadful things have happened in the city, Merry, that one poor hobbit coming in from the battle is easily overlooked. It's not always a misfortune being overlooked," said Merry. "I was overlooked just now by... No, I can't speak of it. Help me, Pippin. It's all going dark again, and my arm is so cold." "Lean on me, Merry lad," said Pippin. "Come now, foot by foot. It's not far." "Are you going to bury me?" said Merry, which I wish they'd used in the fricking movie, damn it.
I know.
That is the most... that phrase, wow, yeah. "No, indeed," said Pippin, trying to sound cheerful, though his heart was wrung with fear and pity. "No, we are going to the houses of healing." They even had a spot for it when he finds him.
Oh, yeah.
Like "I knew
I
you'd
will.
find me. Yes, I found you. Are you going to bury me?" Like, I haven't the faintest clue what accent we gave Mary. I have forgotten. It's gone. I'll just make him, I don't know, London Welsh or something.
I don't think we had a consistent accent, really. We
I don't think
sometimes
we
did
have
them a little
consistent
bit
accents
shitty
for
Irish, and then
anyone. Yeah, sort of, kind of. American bullshittery is what we're really doing. Let's be honest. Robin Williams, I am not. Although his bullshit might have also been bullshit, but
Look, you say it's American bullshittery, but you wouldn't let me give AMR a southern accent. I remember that distinctly.
Yeah, well, that would have been a clashing of the genres so difficult. I would have had a hard time with it. "I would cut off your head, beard, and all, dwarf,
If it stood but a little further from the ground. I'm just saying. It's not too late. Also, I have no idea how to use water-based markers, and it is becoming extremely clear to me that that is the case. So,
Are you having
yeah,
fun experimenting at least?
a bit. I wish they would like blend a little bit more. I feel it's user error. I'm sure it's not the markers, but I've not figured out how to do it.
I would go dark and then do light. I don't know if you're doing that, but
I'm not, but that's a good tip. I'll do that next for the next set of stripes.
they
Oh, that's
turned out
right.
of
You
the
have to go dark to light with watercolors, huh?
No, you usually go light to dark with watercolors, but if you want things to blend, you do the dark first and then use the light as a blender.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have my little water marker thing to help with blending too.
Ah, okay. Eh.
But
They turned out of the lane that ran between tall houses and the outer wall of the fourth circle, pretty far for Barry to have gotten just walking in his sleep with the black breath and all.
I mean, I guess if you're just sort of walking in a daze, you end up wherever you end up.
It's always been my headcanon, by the way, since we watched the movies and the appendices before we read the book. And they
Hmm.
talked about how that one doodle got turned into the rat catchers.
Oh yeah.
It's always been my headcanon that that Pippin finds Mary in the alley of the rat catchers. Like that's the place where his feet wanderingly took him.
I think that makes perfect sense.
And it makes this incredibly pathos-ridden scene kind of like dark comedic if you picture a wad of dead rats hanging in the sign above them.
Hmm. Which this bit might need a little bit of dark comedic-ness.
Yeah. Have you come to bury me? Was there ever a more goth thing for a hobbit to say?
Mary is the one and only goth hobbit. No other hobbits ever experienced gothness.
No, indeed. Although a couple of them come close to punk.
Hmm. I think Bulroar or Took could be argued to be quite punk.
Indeed. And Pippin.
Yes, although Pippin's one
Down
of
on
those
the
like,
dirt and apologize or I'll stick this troll's bane in you. Like, come on. Pippin.
yeah.
They turned out of the lane that ran between tall houses to the rat catchers and the outer wall of the fourth circle, and they regained the main street, climbing up to the citadel. Step by step they went, while Mary swayed and murmured as one in sleep. I'll never get him there, thought Pippin. Is there no one to help me? I can't leave him here. Just then, to his surprise, a boy came running up behind, and as he passed, he recognized Burgle, Baragon's son. Hello, Burgle, he called. Where are you going? Glad to see you again. Still alive? I am running errands for the healers, said Burgle. I cannot stay. Don't, said Pippin. But tell them up there that I have a sick hobbit, Perian, mind you, come from the battlefield. I don't think he can walk so far. If Mithrandir is there, he will be glad of the message. Burgle ran on. I'd better wait here, thought Pippin. So he let Mary sink gently down onto the pavement in a patch of sunlight, and then he sat down beside him, laying Mary's head in his lap. He felt his body and limbs gently and took his friend's hands in his own. The right hand felt icy to the touch. It was not long before Gandalf himself came in search of them. He stooped over Mary and caressed his brow. Then he lifted him carefully. He should have been born in honor into this city, he said. He has well repaid my trust. For if Elrond had not yielded to me, neither of you would have set out. Yeah, it's all about you, Gandalf.
Right? I was so smart to bring you along. Shut up, Gandalf.
Stop. And then far more grievous would the evils of this day have been. He sighed. And yet here is another charge on my hands, while all the time the battle hangs in the balance. Yeah. I'm not saying you're not like pretty righteous in all of the ways. And I love you, but holy shit, Gandalf makes it all about him all of the time. Is it blending better? It looks like it's blending from here.
I think it looks a bit better from far away than it does close up, but it's getting there.
All right, cool. So at last Faramir and Eowyn and Meriadoc were laid in beds in the houses of healing, and there they were tended well. For though all lore was in these latter days fallen from its fullness of old, the leechcraft of Gondor was still wise and skilled in the healing of wound and hurt, and all such sickness as east of the sea mortal men were subject to. You can guarantee they had vaccines.
Just saying, there's no anti-vaxxers in Gondor.
No anti-vaxxers, and no one's got polio, rubella, whooping cough.
Right, measles.
Measles. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that... I wonder if that's one of the things that the exiles of Numenor brought.
Vaccines would make sense.
Yeah. Save old age only, for that they had found no cure, and indeed the span of their lives had now waned to little more than that of other men, and those among them who passed the tale of 50 years with vigor were grown few, save in some houses of purer blood.
Oh, Tolkien.
Oh. But now their art and knowledge were baffled, for there were many sick of a malady that would not be healed, and they called it the Black Shadow, for it came from the Nazgul. And those who were stricken with it fell slowly into an ever deeper dream, and then passed to silence and a deadly cold, and so died. And it seemed to the tenders of the sick that on the halfling and on the Lady of Rohan this malady lay heavily. Still at whiles, as the morning wore away, they would speak, murmuring in their dreams, and the watchers listened to all that was said, hoping perhaps to learn something that would help them to understand their hurts. But soon they began to fall down into the darkness, and as the sun turned west, a grey shadow crept over their faces. But Faramir burned with a fever that would not abate. Gandalf went from one to the other, full of care, and he was told all that the watchers could hear. And so the day passed, while the great battle outside went on with shifting hopes and strange tidings. And still Gandalf waited and watched and did not go forth, even though you notice he's not being particularly useful here. Hello.
Just saying. He's just kind of hanging around, but good for you, dude.
It's really obvious in this light, but I've got another one of those eyelid infections. But it's getting smaller. It was bad for a couple of days, but I've been smearing witch hazel across my eyelid, hoping that it would like get into the pores and make it go away. Because witch hazel do that, but it looks better in person. It doesn't look this. There. Anyway.
If it helps, I did not notice until you mentioned it.
It does, yeah. Until at last the red sunset filled all the sky, and the light through the windows fell on the grey faces of the sick. Then it seemed to those who stood by that in the glow the faces flushed softly as with health returning, but it was only a mockery of hope. Then an old wife, Eoreth, literally an old wife.
Sure.
The eldest of the women who served in that house, looking on the fair face of Faramir, wept, for all the people loved him. Perfect.
'Cause he's perfect.
And she said, "Alas, if he should die! Would that there were kings in Gondor, as there were once upon a time, they say. For it is said in old lore, the hands of a king are the hands of a healer, and so the rightful king could ever be known. And Gandalf, who stood by, said, "What?"
I'm sorry, it's just that's a very Blinken voice. Oh, you lost your eye. At the hands of a king grew you some nice bits.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And Gandalf, who stood by, said, "Men may long remember your words, Yorith, for there is hope in them. Maybe a king has indeed returned to Gondor. Or have you not heard that strange tidings that have come to the city?" So it didn't occur to him until he heard her talk about it. And then he's going to waste precious minutes negging her for
Typical Gandalf.
bringing it up earlier or something.
Good job saying that. You should have said it sooner. Gandalf, why are you the way that you are?
"I have been too busy with this and that to heed all the crying and shouting," she answered.
At least she named him back. Good for her.
What was that? Yeah,
She
right?
named him back.
Yeah,
Good
she
for
totally
her.
did. All I hope
Yorith
is
is
that
like,
those
look, old man.
murdering... What?
Yorith is like, look, old man, I have a job,
I have a
unlike
fucking
some
job.
people.
Yeah. You've just been in my fucking way. Here you are brooding. Gandalf is Batman.
God, can you imagine how insufferable Batman Gandalf would be?
Batmandolf?
All right,
Worst
where's my
nightmare?
sketchbook?
Assuming you even have nightmares that are worthy of my presence.
I just need us all to acknowledge that this is your fault.
Guilty. Are you drawing Batmandolf?
Yes.
And he drives a car that shines like silver in the daylight, but at night passes like a shade.
And you know it's a Tesla.
and it has a psychic link with him, and it drives around by itself until he needs it. And he could use his wealth to solve all the problems of Middle Earth, but he doesn't want to.
Well, all right, here we go.
All right. "I have been too busy with this and that to heed all the crying and shouting," she answered. "All I hope is that those murdering devils do not come to this house and trouble the sick." Then Gandalf went out in haste. He has nothing more to say. She wins.
Ha.
And already the fire in the sky was burning out, and the smouldering hills were fading, while ash-grey evening crept over the fields. Now, as the sun went down, Aragorn and Éomer and Imrahil, who...
Sorry, who? Is that a new character?
I haven't seen him before.
Wait, wasn't he like waiting tables in the hall earlier?
Oh, that's right. Well, you should go back to work.
No, just kidding. Waiting tables would have been useful.
He's just sort of a stand-in prince. What drives me crazy about Imrahil is that everyone's like, "Ooh, you have elvish blood." And I'm like, bitch, the men-elf hybrid clans are so carefully kept track of. Like, that is not, they don't lose their freaking scions. That's not a thing. So, the fuck.
So basically, Imrahil is a poser, is what I'm
I
getting
was
from
born
that.
pretty, so I'm going to pretend.
I
I
mean,
don't
look,
know. Maybe Idril and Tuor had extra kids who went off and did things. But it sounds shady. Oh, and Legolas implies that it was like the people of Nimrodel, and I'm like, Nimrodel didn't have any human blood. What? Tolkien fans, comment if I'm wrong. Comment if I'm right.
comment, please.
Neg me if you dare. I have been trained by the best. Eoreth.
Ooh. Fighting words.
Now as the sun went down, Aragorn and Éomer and Imrahil drew near the city with their captains and knights, and when they came before the gate, Aragorn said, "Behold the sun setting in a great fire. It is a sign of the end and fall of many things, and a change in the tides of the world. But this city and realm has rested in the charge of the stewards for many long years, and I fear that if I enter it unbidden, then doubt and debate may arise, which should not be while this war is fought. I will not enter in, nor make any claim, until it be seen whether we or Mordor shall prevail. Men shall pitch my tents upon the field, and here I will await the welcome of the lord of the city." But Éomer said, "Already you have raised the banner of the king."
I was not prepared.
I miss this so fucking much. You good?
No. I'm a changed man, but continue.
Ah. Meh. Um. Already you have raised the banner of the kings and displayed the tokens of Elendil's house. Will you suffer these to be challenged? No, said Aragorn, but I deem the time unripe, and I have no mind for strife except with our enemy and his servants. And the Prince Imrahil said, "Your words, lord, are wise. If one who is a kinsman of the Lord Denethor may counsel you in this matter." Bitch, I knew him when he was a teenager. You think I don't know this shit?
Imrahil the mansplainer, they call him.
He is strong-willed and proud, but old, and his mood has been strange since his son was stricken down. Yet I would not have you remain like a beggar at the door. Not a beggar, said Aragorn. Say, a captain of the Rangers. The Rangers! Who are unused to cities and houses of stone. And he commanded that his banner should be furled, and he did off the star of the North Kingdom, and gave it to the keeping of the sons of Elrond. Then the Prince Imrahil and Éomer of Rohan left him and passed through the city and the tumult of the people and mounted to the citadel, and they came to the hall of the tower, seeking the steward. But they found his chair empty, and before the dais lay Theoden, king of the Mark, upon a bed of state, and 12 torches stood about it, and 12 guards, knights both of Rohan and Gondor. I'm sorry, I am such a freaking pussy. That would totally be me. I'd be like, "Sorry, battle, I have to guard the dead guy."
Look, somebody's got to do it.
He's got to do it.
You don't want them to come by later and be like, "Hey, where's the dead king?" And be like, "Oh, was anybody watching him?" "Well, no, we were all fighting. He's around here somewhere. I'll get my own head next.
Right. Yeah, you never know with a king's corpse. Those things are worth a lot on the black market.
There's a lot of corpses around on a battlefield. You just never know.
Just never know. Got to keep our eyes on this one. I mean, I would be down there getting slaughtered by orcs, but I have a duty.
Yeah, it's very important.
The hangings of the bed were of green and white, but upon the king was laid the great cloth of gold up to his breast, and upon that his unsheathed sword, and at his feet his shield. The light of the torches shimmered in his white hair like sun in the spray of a fountain, but his face was fair and young, save that a peace lay on it beyond the reach of youth, and it seemed that he slept. When they had stood silent for a time beside the king, Imrahil said, "Where is the steward? And where also is Mithrandir?" And one of the guards answered, "The steward of Gondor is in the houses of healing." It's above my pay grade to tell you more than that. But Aemir said, what?
Oh, I really should have drawn the face on Gandalf before I started with the mask, because now I can't figure out where his facial features are supposed to be. Is this where your mouth goes, bud?
Oh man, if we're ever like a secret cult success, the Batmandolf t-shirt is gonna have to be a thing.
Oh, totally.
Incidentally, I'm in a Facebook group of, I think I've told you about this, of that discusses Sandman, and the group has existed for years, and one of the main moderators is getting a lot of flack because suddenly it exploded in popularity, and there's people in there who don't belong there, and every time she's like, "Here are the rules, please obey them," they're like, "Ah, you are a martinet," except they don't even know that word. But
yeah, I was going to say, if anyone
we
used
hate
that
you,
word,
and every day I see half a dozen instances of her either slapping down trolls or being like, "Per my last email," over and over again. And I'm at the point where I'm like, I need to make a Amanda Pike fan club t-shirt. The slapping down trolls since 2017 or whenever the thing opened. Because she gets a lot of the bad kind of feedback, and I'm like, that's not okay with me. I mean, she is a hard ass. Don't get me wrong. She reminds me of like a school teacher who will take no nonsense. But sometimes those are the best kind. But some people are so fragile.
Particularly on Facebook.
Oh my god. But Aemir said, "Where is the Lady Eowyn, my sister? For surely she should be lying beside the king and in no less honor. Where have they bestowed her?"
Well, we got some good news.
And Imrahil said, "But the Lady Eowyn was yet living when they bore her hither. Did you not know?"
Imrahil, that's the dumbest question that anyone has asked today.
That is by far and away, and without a shadow of a doubt, the stupidest thing anyone has ever said, ever. Then hope unlooked for came so suddenly. But what can you expect of a waiter?
Hey now. There's no need to badmouth waiters just because Imrahil sucks.
Imrahil does suck.
He's also not a waiter.
What can you expect of a poser?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fake elf motherfucker.
Fake elf. Hashtag not my elf. I've been a waiter. Don't at me. Not you, the interweb.
I figured I'll at you if I want to. You can't stop me.
Then hope unlooked for came so suddenly to Aemir's heart, and with it the bite of care and fear renewed, that he said no more, but turned and went swiftly from the hall, and the prince followed him. And when they came forth, evening had fallen, and and many stars were in the sky. There came Gandalf on foot, and with him one cloaked in grey. They met before the doors of the houses of healing. And they greeted Gandalf and said, "We seek the steward, and men say that he is in this house. Has any hurt befallen him? And the Lady Eowyn, where is she?" They said this in tandem. They rehearsed all the way there.
Sure, as one does.
Gandalf answered, "She lies within, and is not dead, but is near death. But the Lord Faramir was wounded by an evil dart, as you have heard, and he is now the steward. For Denethor has departed, and his house is in ashes." That's not a metaphor, people.
His literal actual house is actually on fire. It's a long story.
Why? Because he set it on fire. Let's just walk away, shall we? And they were filled with grief and wonder at the tale that he told. But Imrahil said, "So victory is shorn of gladness, and it is bitter bought if both Gondor and Rohan are in one day bereft of their lords. Éomer rules the Rohirrim. Who shall rule the city meanwhile? Shall we not send now for the Lord Aragorn?" And the cloaked man spoke and said, "He is come."
Which is also what he said. Never mind.
They saw as he stepped into the light of the lantern by the door that it was Aragorn, wrapped in the grey cloak of Lorien above his mail, and bearing no other token than the green stone of Galadriel. "I have come because Gandalf begs me to do so," he said. "But for the present I am but the captain of the Dunedain of Arnor, and the Lord of Dol Amroth shall rule the city until Faramir awakes."
Who?
Gosh, me? Nyeh. "But it is my counsel that Gandalf shall rule us all in the days that follow, and in our dealings with the enemy." And they agreed upon that. Then Gandalf said, "Let us not stay at the door, for the time is urgent. Let us enter, for it is only in the coming of Aragorn that any hope remains for the sick that lie in the house. Thus spake Eorith, wise woman of Gondor. The hands of the king are the hands of a healer, and so the rightful king shall be known."
Oh, now she's a wise woman.
Oh, yeah.
Now that she's bested your ass.
Hey, respect.
That's fair. We're the opponent, etc., etc.
Right?
Okay, hang on. Ah, that's what was missing.
I think she's the only one that does nag him back in the whole book. I've just finished up Fellowship in my own annual reread, and it is so frustrating to read Boromir. I mean, Boromir is the best reason to watch Fellowship.
Yeah.
Because he is absolutely a one-note instrument. Although there was a thing I wanted to bring up to you. So when they're stranded on the in the pass of Caradhras, and the storm has moved on, but they're all snowed in, Boromir quotes an old saying of his country, which is something like, when the clever are stuck, the strong have to lead, or something. Where the mind fails, the body must suffice, something. And then he just sort of plows through the drifts to get them out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And flollops around. And later, at the end of that leg of the journey, when Sam is trying to keep up with Aragorn to find Frodo, and the orcs attack in Amenhen, and the Fellowship splits up, and Sam can't keep up with Aragorn, he goes, "Whoa, steady. You don't have the strength for this, so use your brain." And figures out where Frodo's going. And so it's like the reverse. And I'm like, that's interesting.
That is interesting. That's kind of a very character moment for both of them. I feel like Sam's whole journey is realizing that he has a brain he can use.
Yeah. Less so in the book, because in the book he's already one of the conspirators, and he collects information, and he's lot of things before he leaves the
True.
Shire, even. But
True.
so from here back, Gandalf looks like he would be in a production of Cats. We need. It's just the camera's not focused on it.
I'm not sure if it is in fact that the camera's not focused on it. That may be the ultimate impression here. I can't. Hang on. Batmandolf.
Batmandolf. It's so fucking awesome. I want to draw one too.
You should. I think yours will be better in the facial area because he got a little how do I put it? Pretty.
Anime. Big anime eyes.
Yeah, I'm like, I wasn't going for yaoi Batmandolf, but here we are.
That's fucking awesome. I'll show it off next week. And we're on for Saturdays from now on.
Saturdays are great. Yes, let's do that. And before we go, I have a Lord of the Rings meme that I have been saving to show you. So let me let me see if I can get it on my phone and just show you that. Wait, 1 second. I may also just read it to you because if I can do the voice, it'll be pretty goddamn funny. Let me see here. My blender pen leaks and everything is wet. We catches fish with just our handses, but does they call us Smeagol the fisherman? No. We escapes from the elves in the Shadowlands. Does they call us Smeagol the escape artist? No. We throttles people. Does they call us Smeagol the murderer? No. But you makes what noise?
I love it. I love it so much. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. We have already created one abomination. So we're on a good track. And excellent. On that note,
yes,
I will see you next Saturday.
Okay, cuidado.
Vamos.
Bye.
Which hand? This hand. Bye.
Ah!